Welcome to KQEG 7 River Sports. I'm your host, Terry Harris, and each week an inside look into sports, wellness, and fitness. Today we're blessed by having the Viterbo women's basketball crew on the set. Head Coach Bobbi Vandenberg, been on the set probably about 10 times now, along with two key players, Heidi Huebner, the senior, along with Ambree Schlosser from Durand. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
First order of business. Breaking news. May pay attention to this. Coach Bobbi Brown Vandenberg, soon to be inducted into the Colorado High School Hall of Fame. You heard it here on this set, because not many people know that. A big celebration in January. Bobbi Brown Vandenberg. I saw that on the website. It's like, oh my gosh. That's quite an accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
One thing I noticed, a former Colorado University basketball player, you ready for this? And also an assistant varsity football coach.
Yep.
I bet your players didn't even know that, coaching the wide receivers and defensive backs.
Yep.
It's like, whoa! Tell us about that.
Well, it was one of those things where the head football coach at Boulder High, he just, I don't know why, he kept bugging me to be on his staff. He bugged me for a couple of years, and I kept telling him I didn't have time, I don't have time. Finally, I said, well, you know, it might be kind of fun. And he said, I'll teach you everything you need to know, because I felt like I loved football, but I really didn't know how to teach it. But he said he would teach me everything I needed to know, and then I could relay it to the players, and that's what we did. So it was a lot of fun.
Now the whole world knows, when this is on YouTube, now the whole world's going to know that you were an assistant football coach. I bet you guys didn't know that, did you?
Oh, we did.
So what was your response when you got the call that you were being inducted, by the way, for the championships that you had at Boulder High School?
Yep.
And what you've done since leaving there and leaving Colorado?
Yep. I think it was mostly for, I think it was exclusively for the accomplishments at Boulder High School. But I was really thrilled. I was a little bit surprised, mostly because, I don't live there anymore, and I've been in Wisconsin for 25 years. So I was a little surprised that I would be even remembered. So, but it was very exciting, and I'm humbled and thrilled about it.
Well, so are we, and so is all this whole community and the Viterbo community specifically. Speaking of high school, Heidi, I know, was a talented athlete in the Bay Conference in a place called Hortonville. I'm sure they remember your skills because you left a tremendous legacy. Talk about that.
Yeah, Hortonville's a little town, but they're now in the FVA, so they kind of moved up throughout the years, and now they're in a huge conference. I was a three-sport athlete, cross country, basketball, and softball, and left some good marks there, and had a lot of great coaches and teammates while I was there. Could
you have gone to played other sports collegiately instead of basketball at Viterbo?
Yeah, I thought about softball. I really loved softball, and I loved, slap hitting. It's kind of my thing. So I thought about it, but basketball was just always, my heart and soul. So,
especially in the last few years, by the way, umpiring softball, slap hitting is prevalent. I don't know if a lot of our viewers even know what that is.
Yeah, so I used to be a righty. I used to bat right-handed, but then I switched to the left side of the plate, and it's really you're just spotting the ball. It's more of a mental game, and you kind of run at the pitcher and then hit it, and kind of try and spot the ball and run as fast as you can.
I watched a lot of NC2A softball. The postseason, our daughters were good softball players, and it's just two things that really resonate with me are, one, the skill level, and especially pitching, and number two, the excitement. Mm-hmm. Like every pitch, they seem to be at the pinnacle of energy.
Yeah, definitely. It was a fun game. I kind of miss it, but yeah.
Well, next to me, a freshman, Ambree from Durand. And Ambree, I remember you as a high school athlete working some of your games. You may not remember me because
I do.
I don't know if that was going on, but You were quite an athlete too, all-conference player of the year, and you were all-state, and you were an accomplished athlete, and must have been one of the better girls athletes that ever came out of Durand, I am sure. Did you have talk about some of your experiences as a high school athlete?
Well, I only played basketball. I did track 1 year. I was a sprinter, but then after some injuries, it kind of just became my body needed a break after basketball being such a long season. So I really focused on basketball. I was playing all year round. My sophomore year, we were really accomplished. We were about 5 seconds from going to state. We lost at the buzzer beater to Hayward, so that was not so great. But then we had a rebuilding year, junior year, and then senior year we came back strong as ever and made it to the state tournament. So
I remember that. You know, you were talking about injuries. One of the things you mentioned in your profile is one of the disappointments is the wear and tear on an athlete's body through continuous play. And talk about that and how that impacted you, and is it still part of what you struggle with?
yeah, definitely. My 8th grade year, Northwest League, I hurt my back really bad. Took 2 years to even diagnose what was going on, and it ended up being a spinal defect. So basically 2 of my vertebrae aren't fused correctly, so my spine doesn't move right. So that's definitely been like an obstacle over. I mean, especially now in college play, it's a lot more physical than it even was in high school.
So does it impact your practices and how you prepare and your off-season training and so on?
A little bit. I mean, I'm not the type of person to pull myself out very easily. I'm probably more than I should, but I just have to be careful, just have to be smart about it, make sure I'm taking as many precautions as I can to keep it healthy.
Well, most athletes that are competitive, and you know this, Coach, are the last person to quit or say that they can't play. And how do you handle that, Coach?
Well, I kind of have to keep an eye on her because she will not pull herself out. So I just have kind of learned to kind of sense when she's really starting to get to that point, and I pull her out. So, and then maybe somebody on the bench will say, hey, Coach, Ambree needs out, you know, because she will not. I can tell you that she's such a competitor that she will not pull herself out. But we're getting a sense for it. So
you can read body language a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
it took me a while, though.
That's an applaudable kind of characteristic to be able to do.
And that's not every person, I can tell you that. There are some that are like that, but there's more that are not. So she's very competitive and wants to be in there playing and helping and contributing, and she's a tremendous player. So it's hard for me to take her out because she makes such a great contribution.
Exactly. Speaking of contributions, of course, I've known Heidi for a long time and admire you, your leadership, your abilities on the floor, just what you represent as a senior. You've left a tremendous legacy, and you have a few months left, so it's not over with yet. But you've also had some injuries.
Yeah, kind of the same thing as Ambree. I mean, we're always in the training room together. I have little ones here and there, but I also have some bulging discs in my back. So you just kind of take care of it, go as you can. Has
that been part of all 4 of your years?
Yeah, it actually goes all the way back to I think 7th or 8th grade. I've had bulging discs, so it's something I've just learned to deal with. So.
Mm-hmm. But you've left a tremendous legacy, though. And before we take a break, talk a little bit in just 30 seconds or so about your career and how you evaluate yourself so far.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's definitely bittersweet with it coming to an end. But I think every year you can look at, every year here and see, where you made a mark and where you learned a lot of things. And I think over the 4 years, and I look at this year, we have a really good group. And I think that culturally we've really made a big jump over the 4 years, and just moving in the right direction and just always trying to better the people under me is always my biggest thing. So.
Well, we're going to step aside just for a minute, but when we come back, you mentioned culture. We're going to talk a little bit about sort of the uniqueness, in my view, of the Viterbo culture. We'll be right back.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. Again, the spotlight today on Viterbo women's basketball. Head coach Bobbi Vandenberg, Heidi Huebner, and Ambree Schlosser. Well, before we went to break, we talked a little bit about what I think is the uniqueness of the culture, being on campus as often as I am, and appreciating what Viterbo stands for. I've always been intrigued by the NAIA Champions of Character. I know it quite well. They talk about integrity, respect, sportsmanship, responsibility, and servant leadership. Starting with integrity, what does that mean to you, Heidi?
Integrity, well, I guess, to me it really means just always doing the right thing when no one's looking and always having that internal will to, see through things and do things right, no matter what. Respect.
I think that kind of says quite a bit about you, knowing what you did in high school. But respect, obviously meaning treating others the way you want to be treated. And how do you display that as a student athlete?
I would just say, especially on a team sport, you can't do anything alone. Every point, every turnover, doesn't matter what it is, it's all a team effort. So respecting your coaches, respecting your teammates, it's a huge part of the game. If you don't have respect for your team, you don't really have a lot.
Responsibility, I think, is maybe a little bit different view in my estimation than maybe others have. I look at responsibility as looking for opportunities to contribute to the health and welfare of the team. Would you say that's correct?
I'd say so, yeah. Yeah, living up to the expectations, number one, and then going above and beyond, to contribute to the team any way you can. Not every player on the team can be a starter, but the people coming off the bench, and that's one thing that's really great about our team right now. Those kids that are coming off the bench, they're making tremendous contributions, and they're doing absolutely their best to, when they're on the floor, to make that contribution. But when they're on the bench, they're just right into the game. They're into the game, and that has really helped our team this year. So I think that's part of that responsibility of just the whole team effort. And
it's part of the culture, which I appreciate. Well, responsibility. Here's what my view of responsibility is: looking for opportunities to contribute, but sportsmanship, also bringing the best in all competition. Here's, what describes you basically is the fact that you are a leader, Heidi, but you exemplify that on campus, but also as a part of the NAIA Student Association. A tremendous honor to be involved in that. Talk about that.
Yeah, so this is something I applied for sophomore year, and I got picked as one of, I think, 33 athletes nationwide to represent all of the student athletes of the NAIA. And so I am not only the national D2 women's basketball rep, but also our NSAA conference rep. And it's been a great opportunity, just getting the opportunity to represent so many athletes and be the speaking voice for them, and getting to go to conference and meet with a lot of important people in the NAIA, and then also just doing a lot of different work throughout the year.
How often do you meet?
We have conference calls as a collective whole every other month, and then there's a lot of emailing, of course, and contacting, but then also just meeting once a year at conference. So.
And it's an important part of your resume, but more important than that is it just demonstrates who you are. And I applaud you for that. Viterbo is about servant leadership, Ambree, and it's about serving the common good. Is that part of the reason you were attracted to go to school here?
Yeah, for sure. When I toured other schools, you can kind of get the vibe of, what more than just basketball in school, like what the campus is actually about. And Viterbo definitely stood out as one that they cared about you as a person. You're not just a number in the system. Like, it was very evident to me that Viterbo worried about the welfare of its students, which was definitely one of why I chose to come.
Coach, you've been over 2 decades now. You're one of the winningest coaches. I think the 10 winningest coaches that are active at NAIA today. You've left a tremendous legacy. Talk about the evolution of your position over the years in terms of how maybe you've changed, how athletes have changed, and what is coaching, how important coaching is in terms of life lessons and impacting young people.
It's a lot of questions.
Yeah, there are too many questions.
Well, I think my position has changed from the early days in that I've been given more and more responsibility. You know, in the early days I was able to, it was very part-time. I could stay at home with my children, you know, when they were really little, and I could work from home except when I came in for practice and, you know, for games and so forth. And now it's definitely a full-time job, and probably more than a full-time job. So that has really changed because there's just a lot more to the job. And I could go on and on about that, but would be boring. But as far as athletes changing, I'm not so sure athletes at their core have really changed much. We just have to find the right athletes. You know, I think that if we've got strong character kids who care about getting their degree and really want to perform in the classroom and are, you know, their biggest reason for being at Viterbo is to get their degree, then you're on the right track right there. And you get the strong character kids who are team players. I'm very, very picky about recruiting now. I took chances on kids over the years. They didn't work out. You end up paying the price sometimes for more than a year or two from those bad choices in recruiting. And so we're very, very particular about our recruiting now, that we bring in the right kinds of athletes. But at their core, if you get the right kids, they're still the same. They want to win, they want to work hard, and they're here for a reason.
I think at all levels, NC2A, Division 1, 2, 3, across the board, you would find that coaches would share some of the same views about the character assessment as well as the skill level, because it's a lot of universities have struggled by getting the wrong people involved. But speaking of education, which is certainly what Viterbo is all about, education, career, you're about to graduate. Talk about your major. Where are we going to see you in 5-6 years?
Yeah, it's definitely more of a 5-year plan right now, but I'm double majoring in accounting and sports management, so I'll graduate with that. And then this summer I have an internship at Deloitte in Milwaukee where I'll get some good accounting experience, and then I'm looking to get my master's in accounting, and then also get some experience more in college athletics, and then eventually I really want to work, you know, after I get some experience in the accounting world, work in D1 athletics, you know, in their business office as an accountant, hopefully, you know, down the road as a CFO or something.
Yeah, you had good experience with the Badgers this last year.
Yeah, I did. I worked in their business office as an intern, so working a lot with numbers and athletics, exactly where I want to be, so it was a really good experience.
Something tells me she's going to be successful in her career, too.
I think so. I know so.
Of course, it's pretty early to figure out what life is ahead for you since you're only a freshman, Ambree, but what are your goals? What would you like when you graduate in 4 or 5 years and then go on to a career?
Well, I'm a nursing major with a psychology minor. Not really exactly sure what I want to specialize in yet. I know I want to be in the hospital setting. Leaning towards like trauma, things like that. I want something that's going to keep me on my toes. I've thought about being a nurse practitioner maybe down the line, like once I want to settle down, have better hours, once I have a family, things like that. So probably my goal is to work in the hospital, get a lot of experience in a lot of different departments, and then maybe go back, get my NP down the road when I have a family. Sounds
like you got it figured out already. Well, there's a couple of pretty significant medical centers in this area that you could probably would love to have you too. You talked a little bit about when you were younger, your playing career. Who inspired you as you go down memory lane when you were younger, saying, you know, I think you have the ability to play perhaps collegiately?
Well, when I was really little, I looked up to there was a girl that played for us. Her name is Sam Hoyt. She is definitely one of the Durant legacies around. Looked up to her a lot when I was little, but once I got to the high school level, my coach, Lionel Jones, he came my 8th grade year, and he made basketball more than a game. He's a very respectable coach. We still are in contact, so he's probably the sole reason I am here.
And you probably had somebody significant in your life that inspired you, Heidi.
Oh, definitely. A big one is Celeste Haywish. She's from Hornville. It was a huge legacy at the University of Green Bay. So she was definitely someone I looked up to. And then, now more recently, the MLB pitcher I think I told you about was Marcus Stroman. He's a big, my favorite professional athlete. So
good. Heidi, rapid fire drill, you ready?
Sure.
Philosophy of life.
Definitely that everything happens for a reason.
Define leadership.
That is a very difficult question, but I think just complete selflessness is what comes to mind when I think of leadership. Just always looking at how to learn how to get a group of people to work, both on an individual basis and as a whole, and just devoting your whole self to everyone else.
What would be something that would intrigue our viewers that they don't know about you?
I think I said something about traveling. I've traveled quite a few places. I've been to like Japan and Mexico and different places.
So Japan,
Mm-hmm.
For mission work or what?
No, my mom actually spent a semester over there, so we still know a lot of people. So we went for about 3 weeks when I was in middle school.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that experience.
Yeah.
What's something that maybe our viewers don't know about the freshman from Viterbo?
I was raised in a different type of family. Grew up mostly in a single-parent household, which, was challenging at times, and I had a lot of siblings, so my mom, I'm sure, can express that more than any of us, but did me a lot of good. I had to grow up really fast. When my mom wasn't there, I was the second mom. I just had to grow up really fast, and when I got to college, I was very thankful for that.
I bet you were. How about philosophy of life?
I'd say take chances, get out of your comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
I honestly never thought I would, I always dreamed of playing college basketball, but when you actually start looking at it and all you'll have to balance and things like that, it becomes a question on your mind of whether or not you should do it, but I'm definitely glad I did. I've got to meet a lot of new people. It's been a great experience so far.
Something tells me you have a knack for recruiting good people, Coach. You know that?
Well, it's like I said, it's something I've had to reevaluate, and I'm just really happy with the kids we've had over the last couple of years. I don't feel like I've made any mistakes lately. So these are really good people. In fact, our entire team, I'm really pleased with them. I feel like I can count on every person on our team.
This area is blessed with young people like this, with coaches like Coach Bobbi Vandenberg, and having Viterbo University in this community is a blessing. And I should know because now I'm an alum, so I feel strongly. But we didn't talk much about the season. I know if you want to look at a schedule, please go on the website, and it would be great to come and support Viterbo women's basketball. So I hope you consider doing that in the future. I know your season ends, I think about February 16th, which is senior night. And
actually, senior night we're going to push up a week.
You are, yeah. But the last 2 games, homecoming,
yeah.
Senior night, and so on, alumni welcome, and so consider that. But it's been a great pleasure to have all 3 of you on the show, so thanks for coming in today.
Thanks, Terry.
We'll be back with some closing thoughts right after this.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. Well, our cameras were at the 8th Annual Midwest Players Classic on Saturday at the Lacrosse Center. Again this year, 8 of the very best teams throughout the tri-state area were in attendance showing off their basketball skills in front of several thousand fans at the Lacrosse Center. 8 games starting at 10 a.m. with the Lady Blue Goals defeating the talented Bangor Cardinals by 18 points. Game 2 featured our Logan Rangers versus the undefeated Bloomer Blackhawks. After being down most of the game, Logan fought back only to be beaten by a controversial last-second shot, 72-71. Aquinas continued to play well, defeating Spring Grove 64-49 behind Randy Jacobson's 21 points. The Caledonia Warriors, led by the King family, soundly defeated the Prairie School of Racine 84-66. Minnehaha Academy of Minneapolis dominated Stoughton in the late afternoon game. The 2 evening games brought even more basketball fans to the arena as an impressive Waunakee Warrior team took care of the ranked Stevens Point Pointers. And finally, the 11-1 Central Red Raiders continued to impress the hometown fans with a 4-point win over Woodbury. Well, I trust you enjoyed this week's show. I appreciate you joining us. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping you have an active and a healthy week.